piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
What's up, film fans? Welcome to a new episode. Welcome to Under the Silver Lake, and welcome to a new bonus episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and I am joined here by the cast, crew, the fellers. Edward.
How's it going, folks? Y'all doing good?
Craig.
What's happening?
It's just feels like a few days ago we just got done talking about a movie.
It does.
Wonder what that was.
We did, honestly. We just got done talking about Bodies on Monday night, so you guys can go check that out wherever you listen to podcasts at. Anchor, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Pandora, prescribedfilms.com, PFPN, so go check them out. What about you guys? You guys having a good Thursday? You guys glad tomorrow is Friday?
Yeah, so far so good. It's been a good day for me. I mean, we don't have 113 degrees going on, in Oklahoma, so that's good. As well as, Friday looks like it's going to be a decent day too. So all in.
Mr. Tony Stank.
I'm geeked up right now.
Go ahead and let everybody know who's watching and then who's going to listen later on this weekend out in podcast. And let them know why you're so stoked. Share it.
So living in Oklahoma, we have a very storied and traditioned college football program. And so I personally have never met Barry Switzer. And today at my job, undisclosed location, he was there, kind of poked his head in my room, and he was looking for the restroom. And I stepped outside and I was like, is that Barry Switzer? And they're like, yeah. And I got to meet the guy. I got to sit in a very intimate setting with about 5 or 6 other people and just listen to him tell stories and call past players. And I got a football sign. So, yeah, I mean, the king, royalty in Oklahoma, just something I never thought was going to happened today. And in one of the biggest ways I could have ever imagined. It wasn't just like I was at a sporting event and saw him, said hi, shook his hand. Like I actually got to sit right next to him and just hear stories that I think were pretty personal, honestly. So
good old Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer is also
Dallas
a former Super Bowl winning head coach for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and he talked about one of his stories was talking about coaching Monday Night Football. It was just
because it don't get no bigger than that. Monday Night Football.
It was just something I'll remember for the rest of my life, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure on that.
Hell yeah. So yeah, what a Thursday for you, Craig, man. What a way to go into the weekend. Like you said, cooler weather, football's coming. Yeah. Madden gets released tomorrow.
I've actually been playing the trial. Yeah? I got the EA little monthly thing that they have, and so I got a 10-hour trial. This year's Madden, low-key fire. Like, I was not going to get it this year. I was like, it's going to be the same old Madden. They've added some good stuff to it. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited for NCAA a lot more after playing this game.
I did read news that they were not going to elect a former college football player or Heisman winner to be on the game. They're going with a current player who's currently in college right now, which I think is tremendous.
As they should.
Yeah, well, they're paying them, so you might as well go ahead and put them on there.
Before, you couldn't pay the players and you couldn't use their name or image for the cover. Now the players can be paid, so they're going to choose somebody who is in high demand, likely to win the Heisman, and throw them on the cover.
Go ahead and put old running back from the University of Texas on the cover, and he'll be just fine.
Bijan Mustardson? He signed an NIL deal with a mustard company.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
he's
hey,
still getting that money with that, though.
Exactly.
If you can get that bread, go ahead and put a little mustard on it. You know what I mean?
If all you got to
Honestly-
do is throw your name and picture on a can of mustard and you get a royalty for it, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
all for it.
No,
Ah.
honestly, how much do you want to bet it's going to probably be an Alabama player?
Well, I mean,
It doesn't. Honestly, I'm just so glad that the game is back, and I'm
Yeah.
just glad that it doesn't matter who they put on there.
are we gonna have to do like a Friday night football podcast?
We might have to.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I am very excited for college football this year.
We can just call
Fast
it.
Friday football.
Yeah, we might come up with something. Who knows?
Not just that, but the Big Ten signed a $7 billion media rights deal with Fox, NBC, and CBS.
Well, I know yeah, that is pretty huge. I got a little bit of news to break. It's not really. I mean, I know for anybody who's tuning in who has never listened or watched a bonus episode, our bonus episodes are ad free, segment free, sponsorship free. We're dedicating the entire hour conversation to the movie. And if you guys have been under a rock, this entire month has been dedicated to A24. So both on Mondays and Thursdays, we're talking A24 movies. But I got to break that today because August 25th at Rodeo Cinema, we are going to be there for the special live event. You can see a screening of The Room August 25th, 7 p.m. After the screening, you can meet and greet Greg Sestero. Tickets are only $20 to go to this event, but I have a code. If you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, you can give the code and get in for just $10. So it's a Cine-Men Movie Podcast exclusive. The code is OHIMARK. So
Hey, that's lit.
OHHIMARK. So OHIMARK will get you $10 off the ticket just from listening to this podcast. So go check it out. August 25th, 7 p.m. And you can get in for just $10 with that code. Again, the code is OHIMARK. Let them know that you heard it right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. That's Thursday, August 25th. A week from today, guys, we're going to be going and hanging out and talking to Greg Sestero. Also, a week from today is our final bonus episode of the month for A24 month, First Cow. Next week, me and Zach, next Thursday, we'll be talking about First Cow.
I'll try to join as well.
Yeah. Should be a fun episode. If you guys haven't checked out any of the A24 movies or any of the A24 episodes, highly recommend them. You can go check them out now wherever you listen to podcasts. But I think it's time to dig in to Under the Silver Lake.
A lot of water.
A lot of water.
So that's what we're talking about today. Under the Silver Lake. IMDb currently has it at 6.5. Rotten Tomatoes at 58%. The Metascore is at 60%, while the Google users have it at 64%.
Me and the Google users get it right.
The release date was April 19th, 2019, with a budget of $8 million. It only grossed $253,000 in the box office.
Oh,
So yeah, it didn't do very good. But that's what we're talking about today. Under the Silver Lake, Sam, a disenchanted young man, finds a mysterious woman swimming in his apartment's pool one night. The next morning, she disappears. Sam sets off across LA to find her, and along the way, he uncovers a conspiracy far more bizarre than anything he would have ever imagined. Starring Andrew Garfield, Riley Keough, Topher Grace, Callie Hernandez, Wendy Vandren Heuvel, and directed by David Robert Mitchell. Under the Silver Lake, guys, this was actually all of our first times watch. So usually, I'll go around and ask, have you guys, what was it like, watching it for the first time and then revisiting it for this podcast? But it was all a very, very first time watch for all of us. So, Craig, I believe you're the first one who watched the movie.
That is correct.
So we'll go with you first. As soon as the movie was over, a few short words. What'd you think?
Bizarre. I just thought it was bizarre.
Edward?
I'm going to go with creepy.
I'm going to go with disappointing.
Possible.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is weird straight from the beginning. Even when you're like, just man, the squirrel.
The squirrel falling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like it was trying to be funny, but creepy. And just in a way that was very, it's just eerie.
There was just a lot of stuff about this entire film that was just kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like, hey, I really want to see this, so I'm just going to get this going. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I don't care. It was creepy, man. That's all. It's creepy.
And honestly, it was kind of one of those movies that was hard to find if you do stream whatever we usually watch. Craig, I know you found it on the Hulu subscription through Showtime, right?
Yeah.
And then Edward, I guess you found the same thing, but through the Stars app. If you guys have a Sling premium subscription, Fubo TV, but if you just want to rent it, you can rent it for $2.99 on Vudu, $2.99 on YouTube TV, and then it has an Amazon Prime premium subscription. So, but yeah, and this movie, honestly, guys, I don't want to say that I hated it, but after some of the stuff I've read, and the trailer seemed real promising, and I love Andrew Garfield. The movie just did not hit me really good pacing wise, and it felt like it was trying to do way too many things in a 2-hour and 20-minute movie, which felt like a 2-hour and 45-minute movie.
Yeah. No, I agree. Initially the kind of him trying to get the girl, I think it was setting up for something that I thought maybe she was either going to be like a killer or, because it wasn't. I'm trying to remember. It was a week or so before when I watched it, but like there was dogs disappearing.
Yeah, dogs were
dog
disappearing.
killer.
The dog killers.
The dog killer.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what it was going to be. Like there was going to be some killer, and I had to deal with everything being under the lake or in the lake. And so when he met the girl, I was like, okay, she's obviously a big character. She has to be doing, she's a big part in the story. I just had no idea of the route it was about to go.
And I mean, and you get the first glimpse of like Sarah, who, is the girl that he just starts falling for. She seems real interested, or he seems real interested in her. But he just seems like somebody that I wouldn't even trust anything with. Andrew Garfield's character in this movie just seems really, really off to me.
Creepy.
Well, yeah, not only creepy, but the whole person, just the whole story just seems really off.
Yeah,
he seems fine, kind of when he's sitting on the porch and he's just relaxing. Like you have a nice view of a pool. You're in California.
I mean,
it's the route of how he kind of like he's very jittery, and it's like I understand you smoke cigarettes and everything, but it almost felt like he was on some hard drugs most of the time.
Well,
lacing them cigs.
You know what I thought the entire time, whether it's the soundtrack, the score, the film opening up with him looking through the binoculars, the posters throughout the whole movie. The director of this movie, I felt like he tried to take his own story and he literally took pieces of every single Alfred Hitchcock movie he's ever seen and threw it into this entire movie. This entire movie felt like a modern day Alfred Hitchcock wannabe story.
Didn't you guys feel like whenever he was on the balcony, kind of looking at the pool, that it was almost like a
Like Rear Window.
Rear Window? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it felt very much like that. The way it was shot, the way the music was.
And then when he was in the car following the girl, it had some sequences of Psycho.
Yeah.
Like I felt like he was watching, I mean, he was going through like it was a Psycho thing.
There's for sure a lot of callbacks to older movies, possible influences for that matter. Did any of y'all get that he was like, okay, so I get the jittery and all that, maybe the hard drugs possibility, but like I kind of got paranoia in a way, because he's always watching everybody. He's always got to have his eyes on everybody. You know what I mean? Whether it's for his kicks, for a more creepish reason, because several times,
It
the
mentions
older
about
ones
him like, "Oh, did you watch me?"
Yeah, or yeah, you watched me down at the pool, and he's like, no, yeah, I seen you. Well, and all that, but it's just kind of like, where was like the intention? What was your thought process behind that? Because he I don't know. It's almost like it's kind of a skits or a paranoia kind of thing, and that's even kind of just maybe that's a possibility of adding on to that, because I've read a few things that said that he was the dog killer basically, and that the director was pointing that towards that a lot, especially in some of the scenes where it's literally behind him or in front of him on the ground for that matter, and there's the upward shot. Different stuff like that was apparently pointing to him specifically being the cause of the disappearances of the dogs. And then when he was feeding her dog Coca-Cola, the treat, to me, I'm like, I would rather I've got the treat, the dog comes to me. I don't shove the treat down the dog's throat. Because to me, it just looked like he was just like, okay, and the dog's like, dude, back off, man. Okay, like I got it.
But it's also like, how did he, with how like jittery he was, how did he feel like he could just go down there and hit it off with the girl who saw that he was spying on her? You know what I mean? Like that, I could see if she maybe like did a certain face at him and he felt like, okay, maybe she was into it. She thinks I'm cute. But it felt like they'd never seen each other before then.
I kind of feel like Juan's onto something, because literally I feel kind of like it's onto, he said, oh shit. Basically, it's kind of like, I want you, and maybe the director putting him in his life, kind of like he is Sam for that matter. Basically, like, okay, there was that one chick that I really should have gone after, man, and I seen her, and I would watch her just do some little task, or I'd watch her at the pool a little bit,
and then she's gone.
But never did nothing, and then it maybe,
and then this was his twist on it.
Yeah. Maybe literally in real life, if this actually did happen, she wasn't literally gone in a day, but like it seemed like, man, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do it, and nothing. And then the next time he tried, she's already gone, kind of thing. And because like, I got to agree, like packing up in the middle of the damn night, whether you have a little bit of stuff or a lot of stuff, like, unless you're just literally with a backpack.
I also got some weird, even though the poster was on his wall, I got some weird Wolfman kind of vibes from it. Like,
well, I think that ties into the dog stuff.
Like, well, you say you think he was the dog killer. Or you think, or did you get that just because of something that you may have read online, or did you personally get that vibe when you were watching it?
He was saying he had read that people thought he was the dog killer.
Because I remember, like, specifically seeing when he's seeing other people eating, like, he sees the girl, right, eating the squirrel or the dog that was laying on the
pavement.
Yeah.
On the trail. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, sometimes he'll like kind of space out and then he'll come back and just wake up out of the blue somewhere. He did that a few times in the movie.
that's kind of where I think some of the schizophrenia comes in, man. Like, I don't necessarily think that's maybe even what they were trying to do, but at the same time, like, to me, it just seems like he's paranoid, on the watching people thing. Like, it's getting his kicks off, and he's paranoid because he's got to know what everybody's doing. Like, oh, well, that's, because when asked, what was that sound? And he's like, oh, listens for a minute, and then he's like, oh, that was the neighbor's parrot. You knew exactly what that sound was. Exactly, like, off the bat. I mean, come on now. But, like, when it's not a friend.
What do you guys think though at the end of at the beginning of the movie, he's having the sex with the actress with a sex scene, and then out of the blue you get the disappearance of the billionaire, and that kind of seems to be the first clue that, hey, what is this movie really about? Is it about dog killers, or are we about to go on some kind of spree about a missing billionaire
and level up in this?
Yeah. So that's why I get, like, the whole movie to me just kind of felt like it didn't know where it wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with Ed, where I feel like the premise of the movie is maybe the director had an incident where he saw a girl, he really wanted to talk to her, and then just one day she's gone. Maybe not in the middle of the night gone, but he never got the chance to fully talk to her. And I think this is his take of, like, what if
he did?
What if he tried to find her after that? Like, maybe this is why she was gone. And this is kind of his take on it, while adding some conspiracy theories to it.
And I mean, with that, it's kind of like this film's almost like about not necessarily having it or not having it, but maybe it's like, is it better to
know why they left?
Well, that too, but is it better to have not had it or to have it and lost it? You know what I mean? Because if you don't have it, don't have to worry. It's cool. I've never had a 69 Camaro, so I can't really tell what it's like. But if I had that 69 Camaro and I sold it, man, I really wish I had that car still, kind of thing.
But then, going through the movie, he's kind of trying to figure out, all these quote unquote conspiracies with messages hidden in the music from the band, what is it, Dracula and the Brides?
Yeah, Dracula, yeah.
And so those scenes were kind of weird, where he's going through and he's following the girls and he sees the message on the football field. So that something's going on. Yeah. And it's not just him being crazy. And so when he goes and he starts trying to listen to the music, and you're like, because we've all heard those things where if you play the song backwards, Queen, you can hear something, or
Chicago or
AC/DC or anything like that. Black you can hear subliminal messages. And I think that's just kind of his take of adding this to it. But it's just like, man, like he went deep with conspiracies in this movie, and I kind of dig it for that reason, just because I do think there are a lot of things out there that are hidden to the public eye, but are right in front of you. And so I like that aspect of the movie, but I just think the route they went with it, which it could be real, could be fake, is just very, very weird in my opinion.
Or maybe that it's not real and fake, it's just inspirations taken from,
Oh yeah, you could really tell about the inspirations from all these movies. Like, it felt like he was taking inspirations from Stanley Kubrick movies. It felt like he was taking the whole movie, to me, felt like an updated Hitchcock movie. So both of the director, just obviously you could feel like he just took any and everything he could. I don't know if you guys ever seen it's a Tom Cruise movie, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was like the entire thing just felt like he was which is not a bad thing if you're going to have two directors that you're going to follow off of. Kubrick and Hitchcock are two of the greatest of all time. That's why I just felt this movie was just, I don't know,
maybe a little too copycatted, to where you were trying too hard to be like them and it wasn't your own thing.
No, I felt like he had just the right amount to where you could tell what he was doing, but I still feel like the story did not know where he wanted to go. Like, did he want it to be about people killing dogs? Did he want it to be about people?
Finding love.
Yeah, like there was just so many. There was probably three or four main plots that you could have went off, and then the ending was just something completely felt like it was thrown together.
Out of nowhere, out of left
Yeah,
field. And maybe
and
that's
it was a letdown to me. The ending
yeah,
was.
maybe that's what they were trying to do. But yeah, him following and finding the girls that are in like the star hotline was weird. But him finding the guy that had like the secret room in his house, and he showed him, and he's like, this map matches up to what's the lake called?
Under the Silver Lake.
Silver Lake. He's like, this map matches up to it. It's like a complete 1-to-1. Like, I felt like once they hit that spot is kind of when you knew, like, okay, so there's something going on in this town that is there, but people don't know about. And I feel like that's kind of when the story got traction. But all these side things, I agree, it pulled you away from what you thought was going to be the plot, whereas it was following this line, but it was like, this is over here as well. Oh yeah, there's this, and like the lady that came into the house at night to kill people,
the owl.
the owl lady, like I still don't know what that was about.
I mean, like that was, I don't know if that was like a misdirection kind of deal of like, oh, she's the one who made the billionaire disappear in a way, or if it was just like.
But no, it's still got to be something because it was in the movie. She came after Andrew Garfield's character. So it's like, is she a huntress of people that aren't supposed to know what's going on? Is she, it's weird. And, and she does end up getting the guy in the house that's the conspiracy theorist.
The comic guy.
It's like, so you don't, like, I feel like that was completely unanswered. And whenever he does kind of go through the tunnels and finds out that it leads to the guy which was a ridiculous and kind of disturbing scene with the old man writing the music, and he's like, I write all the music that you've ever seen or heard in your life, and it's all from me. And it kind of made me think, like, it makes sense because some bands have like banger after banger, and then the rest of their CD is complete doo-doo.
Well,
that's another thing. Like,
writers.
Was this movie about a songwriter more than it was anything,
or even about like a time where the director or one of the producers might have met a songwriter, and just like several different ones. He was like, well, is there anything you have written or composed that people don't know? And he's like, well, yeah, I
helped co-write this and co-write that, and I did the lyrics for this, or yeah,
and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like that because there's a ton of people, whether it's beats, whether it's lyrics, whether it's full songs for that matter, that have done that, and then a bigger artist or a big indie artist even will go ahead and take that, spin it just a little bit, and produce their own music that top of the charts and all that kind of stuff. Billboard 100, there you go. But I mean, I don't know. A lot of this to me was just creepy, man. Like
I felt like it was just like there's too much to follow in the original plot, and I mean the synopsis doesn't even really do any of it justice. And it's. Yeah, a disenchanted 33-year-old who discovers a mystery woman in his apartment swimming pool,
which
vanishes. Or is he just so crazy? Is he just so out there that he's the reason she went missing? Is he the one who killed her? And throughout the whole movie, is he the one who's going out and trying to make it his duty to find her to make himself feel better for killing her?
Because I mean, there was a lot of the trios of females. There was the show trio, the superstar whatever trio, the trio of girls that Sarah became in, and all of that. or the roommates, I guess she was with. The dolls, they were a trio. There was just a lot of that, and apparently there's a lot of symbolism and
Well,
codes in this.
Johnny, after you say that kind of makes sense to where like he is the reason she's gone, and he did kill her.
And you know what? I mean, how more Hitchcock can you get than this? Andrew Garfield's name in the movie is what?
Sam. Yeah.
Going back to Psycho, like,
Yeah.
And I think, and everybody else's name is, nobody has a name. You have Sam, Sarah, and then
Sarah.
after that, Topher Grace's bar buddy. You have
Dancing Girl.
Yeah, Dancing Girl.
Or Balloon Girl.
Topless Bird Woman, Mom, Actress, Bodo Box Reporter. So it's just very...
But yeah, I just want to get this. So I agree with you, Johnny. Like, what if? And I kind of want to go back and rewatch it now. What if this whole thing is like he sees the girl, he deals with her that night, and she's like, "Okay, that's it. You need to go." And he gets so upset that she made him leave, and he saw that other people were there that he goes home, maybe drinks a little bit too much, and then kills her, and he's the one that completely empties the apartment to make sure that there's nothing left behind.
Yeah.
And then his entire makeup of the rest of the film is so outlandish because he's trying to make it right in his head that it's not his fault he's not the reason she's missing.
Yeah.
And so he comes to a conclusion at the end where she's in a place that nobody can find her, and that's where she is. She's not dead. Like, that would make complete sense.
Because, I mean, like, even the fireworks, they were a little strange. Like, you just walk out and, there's fireworks, in my...
Because throughout the whole movie, there's seasoning sprinkled throughout the entire movie about how he is just using every single piece of evidence he can to not only find this person, but to spy on anybody he could. There's the scene with Topher Grace with the drone.
Yeah.
And she sees the girl that he's spying on is completely just broken down and crying. And who's to say she's not crying because she sees the drone and she knows what's coming?
Yeah.
And maybe, I was thinking about this too when I was watching the movie. Usually in movies where they don't have names and they just have names like bartender, the only two people that matter in the movie are Sarah and Sam. Maybe everybody else, he's completely made up in his mind.
And that's true.
And that's why they're named and they're, called.
They're named after what he's seen or what he's made them to be.
He doesn't know their name. They're just characters he created. But this movie is so A24 that you just can't picture but to sit there and $8 million for an A24 movie is a huge budget.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know.
And, you have two Spider-Man alumni. Why not? Kind of thing,
Yeah, well. But like I said, once he goes through the tunnels and finds the singer and the owl girl,
the songwriter,
it's the songwriter, the owl girl. It's just kind of like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, and then you have the death scene of the piano man, which is what I named him.
Yeah.
He
kills the piano man.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? Like, the only real death in this movie that we see is him. Did he kill the comic book guy because, you know what I mean? Is the owl girl a fixture of his imagination?
And then you have, is she? I have somebody written down as the escort girl.
Yeah.
And then
she's
you have
the call girls.
Yeah, and then what do you guys think of the whole cemetery drive-in showing of that movie in the cemetery, which I felt was very, very eerie and almost felt like it was almost make-believe.
Yeah.
It felt like you were not supposed to be there.
Yeah. And, if you're trying to hide something and not be noticeable, and you're these movie call girls that are essentially like first round draft picks for these rich people that want to go and live underground, which is the ending. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, when he finds the bum and the bum lingo where it's like, this sign means you're safe, 3 lines means that it's not safe to come in here. Like, I thought that was pretty cool that they're using actual symbolism for, I don't know if it's real or not, but like symbolism for what maybe like homeless people do use for others to be like, hey, you can't come in here, it's not safe.
And then you have the homeless king.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like the brotherhood, the dark brotherhood from Skyrim in a way.
And then the girl that he swam with in the Silver Lake who got shot, that was Sarah, right? No, Sarah.
That was the rich guy's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, who killed her? Did he kill her? Because it shows that she got shot, and she looks just like the magazine that he fell in love with. But like, is that a symbolism of him trying to make it look like something that he's seen before?
Recreating.
Did he kill her? And so it's just, what we're talking about in spitballing is so outlandish, but it is A24 that it just might be weird enough that it's really what they were trying to go for. So when he ends up getting to the end, the whole thing is he finds the 3 girls that he was following and questioning about how or where Sarah is, and they're in a house with a guy. Well, not even a house, it's like a shack. And they explain to him that rich people are essentially entombed. Is it like a ritual to be entombed? Is it they don't want to deal with the outside nonsense anymore?
I thought we were going to get a Midsummer ending with that little hut looking thing.
Right.
And they're all dressed in white. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was about to walk into like some kind of yeah. The word rhymes with origami.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something else to be funny, but yeah, I mean, they just explained to him like, hey, we're 3 chosen people to go live down with this rich guy, and he disappeared and she disappeared with them because they're faking deaths and they're living in this enclosed tomb beneath Silver Lake.
I kind of found it strange on how the call works. They can call you, but you can't call out because it's a one-way phone. Because it's kind of like, okay, everything was getting too like, I don't remember the exact word he used, but basically like overwhelmed or overwhelming.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like, why are people wanting to get out and just don't like it? Like,
yeah, no, they said like there were people that they tried to get out once they got in, but there is no way to get out. And if you try to call out, you'll ruin the secret because you don't care anymore. And so,
so to me, it's almost like, why in the hell is this such? You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. It's just,
it's because of once you do it, you're simply you're giving your soul up to be on the higher plane of existence when you're done down there. Like, there's no, you could be down there for a week or a month, but eventually you're going to be up there, and
you're gonna die.
And then what was up with all the different parties he was going to? Like, you had the cookie party where the ticket was the cookie, and he ate that, and he ate the whole thing, and he got sick. And then I think it's just the chess mixer.
I think it's just a coup of multiple events for people to attend to kind of maybe get their what do they call it? Rumspringa. So Rumspringa is a time for Amish people to go out and experience the final things before they come back to live that lifestyle. So I wonder if those events are all essentially Rumspringa events for the people that are going down to live in these tombs. It's their one last get out,
right,
before you're entombed, and maybe that's what they could be. But it was just like they were all awkward.
Yeah.
When you went.
You know, because I mean, that one girl, she was all happy, fun, dancing, and all that. Even, you know, they noted it in the scene, and all of a sudden, you know, everybody starts getting text messages, and she's still partying up. And then that girl comes over, says something, and she just walks directly. So it's like, okay, does it fall to you now, and you're trying to just get the hell away and go down into the bunker, or whatever you want to call it, and go to your hide hole?
Yeah.
You know, like, well, you know.
Well, we're talking about symbolism, and so there's one guy and three girls that go into these tombs.
Yep.
Dracula and the brides.
Yep.
One male and three brides. So it symbolizes it very early on what the idea is. And so again, it's the symbolism of it being in their music. And I think that's the symbolism of whoever put that band together to say, like, hey, this is what we're offering. And this is how you get here. And here's this is how you decode it and get to this point. And it's just like, when he calls her and he's talking to her and he's like, yeah, I wish you were still up here. And she starts crying. I'm just like, are they going to offer to find a way to put him in the tomb with the people that he's in the hut with? Like the three girls and the guy? I thought they were going to offer that.
Because you knew there was something wrong automatically with her whenever she's like, hey, can you take this? I'm going to take this in the other room. Like, you're like, okay, what the hell just happened here? What's going on with you?
It's just, it's so outlandish to even think that things like that could be happening, that it was kind of like, I don't know, disturbing that maybe people do think that way.
Yeah.
Like that could really be happening. And maybe it's not just something that he made up in his mind, but it's actually, you know, because there's talk that things are put into media to kind of desensitize our thoughts towards it. You know what I mean? Like, you see something so repetitively that if it were to come out that it happened, you'd be like, oh yeah, that happens all the time.
Well, I mean, because that's supposedly, and I know I'm kind of jumping off the rails here, but, you know, aliens for that matter.
This whole movie is off the rail, honestly, so you're good, I think.
It's kind of like, you know, aliens. I think, like, if a predator-looking species or a xenomorph or maybe even, like, gray was to happen, I don't think many of us would be too
bullshit
freaked out. Well, no, I'm not saying
there would be some people that would be so used to seeing that they'd be like, I want to experience that. I do agree with that.
Oh yeah. You know, and I mean that's kind of the thing, because, you know, going to I don't exactly remember where I heard it, but basically it's kind of like if you put the cattle in a straight line in a slaughterhouse, that straight line, they'll see the next cow getting slaughtered, they will freak out. It will be a complete and total nightmare. If you put them in a chute that weaves around, that's how you get it, because literally that weaving process, they only see this one over here, and then they see that one over here, and they're good. They don't see the one getting slaughtered. Yeah. It's cool because, and you know, I feel, I some of me, and I know this is kind of conspiracy theory-ish, but some of me does feel that is real. That
absolutely, there's
not necessarily fake news, but news is, you know, let's report on this one thing so much that, and distractions, But
no, I agree. I definitely agree that there's stuff like that happening today.
And I mean, maybe that was kind of a small precipice of this, that he created it in his mind, kind of like a Tyler Durden Fight Club kind of thing, you know, as well as a mix with the Hitchcock and with the Kubrick, and I don't know, it's kind of
I do think after talking about it, this is because it is like the dog killer. You know, he hears the animal and he has dog treats. You know, the whole thing with dog treats and leading them, is that his way to lure dogs to kill them? You know, maybe he does have the schizophrenic side where he is out killing people, because he always seemed tired. He always fell asleep in random places. He was always itchy and twitchy and spying on other things. So maybe that is like the precipice of the story. He's just a serial killer that's killing women and dogs. That's why the 3 women are gone. That's why the billionaire's gone, and that's why there's like a dog killer. And
Because
his whole
remember the biggest thing in this movie is he's always being threatened to get kicked out of his apartment.
evicted. Yeah.
And in the very last scene, where one of the very last scenes where he's, the apartment is the issue, the security guard gives him the chance. He's like, you know what? I'm going to give you one more day. And he's just so sure that he's going to come into all this money. What if it's because he's the one who kidnapped the billionaire?
Yeah.
And he's so
Because
sure
you
of it.
never see him go to work. He doesn't have a job.
And there's even that scene where him and the billionaire's daughter walks past him. It's like, I have more money too, and he turns around, really irritates Andrew Garfield's character.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we're kind of unpeeling the onion that he set out to do, and I think it's just a messy, multi-layered. Like, you got an onion, then you got a layer of something else.
So let's talk about the timeline at least for a minute. This movie debuted in 2018 at the Cannes Film Festival, which is a highly, precious film festival. Usually every festival that gets released from Cannes does really good, and most of the time it becomes a movie that could be nominated for Best Picture or something. But let's take a look at the A24 timeline here. Right around this movie, you have Hereditary had already came out, 8th Grade, mid-90s, First Reformed, Moonlight had just got done winning Best Picture. So A24 had already been established, and it's Andrew Garfield. What in the blue hell happened to where it only made 800 or not even 800? It only made $253,000 at the box office.
I honestly don't remember this being marketed.
Honestly, though, between you two, and this is no jab to anybody, but between you two, when do you guys really remember any maybe A24 movie being kind of marketed? Unless it's something like maybe a Midsummer or Hereditary. Like
Hereditary, I remember. Midsummer, I do not.
Even movies around this time that had won awards like Moonlight, The Souvenir.
I remember Moonlight vividly being talked about.
First Reformed, there's movies in the A24 locker that just some people are like, I've never heard of it, but it's made $2 or $3 million, which is a lot better than $253,000.
And maybe it was one of those films where they made it and they spent a big budget on it and they thought it was going to be good, and it just didn't get a good reception at the Cannes Film Festival. So
let me even go back. Yeah, let me even go back. Yeah, this.
Because maybe it was director.
Let me see if I read it wrong. No, I didn't. Budget $8 million. $253,000 at the box office. That's just insane.
That's Top Gun made that in a week last week. You know what I mean? Like, in one theater probably put that out.
No, so I think you are reading that wrong. So right here on, well, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and actually search up box office instead.
No, here it is. The budget was $8 million.
Yeah, the budget was $8 million, but it made $2.53 million.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I mean, still, like, it didn't. It made just over a quarter of its money back. So I mean, that's still
it's still 6 under.
Yeah, so I mean that's still a huge loss right there. That's a huge loss.
Again, like I said, maybe they just didn't get good reception at Cannes Film Festival, so they put it out in select theaters. Hoping maybe just a few people will see it, and maybe it was kind of like we said, it's just so condensed. No, not condensed, but so convoluted with everything in it that people didn't get a good grasp on it. They didn't really talk to anybody about it because they didn't understand what it was. It's hard to market something or do word of mouth when you don't understand it. And so, like, yes,
here's a negative review from the Village Voice saying, and I quote, "If you're going to make a postmodern nor sex conspiracy set in Los Angeles, it helps to have some kind of personality for the film, or at least a sense of style. Mitchell has interesting ideas and his actors seem to be having fun, but that's not enough when the film itself lacks atmosphere or tension or even emotional engagement."
Yeah, it's pretty spot on. I mean, there was nothing in it where you were like, man, I hope this character pulls through. There was nothing in it where you
man, I hope he gets the girl. You know,
there was no connection in it. It was just kind of like, you know, this is weird, and you really only stayed to watch it because you weren't sure what was going on. And I think that's a failure on the director's part.
Yeah.
That's not an actor being bad. That's not a script being bad. Well, yeah, that's a script being bad, but that's the director not
directing correctly.
Scenes in a line to make it make sense. So it falls on the director and the producer at that point.
You can have the best actors, and I mean, sure, you can have the name and all that, and it'll get marketed well. But at the end of the day, you know, okay, Top Gun. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a movie about pilots and all that, and I mean, it's cool as hell. Don't get me wrong, but this thing is a box office juggernaut right now.
And this is going to be funny because this is one of the movies that me and Ed kind of go back and forth on. But the director has only directed 2 feature-length films, and the first one is It Follows from 2014, and then this one from 2018. So he's only done these 2 movies. I'm in love with It Follows, and how it's just so it's and you know, now looking at both of these movies, It Follows is basic and an original idea, but it's almost like now this one, Under the Silver Lake, he's like, oh, I have to make it 10 times better than that. Let me throw in 10 different stories, 2 different plots, no twist, and maybe let me try to make it better. So, I mean, it feels like he had no expectations going into It Follows, and he was kind of, you know, he didn't knock it out of the park, but since he had no expectations, he made a decent original idea about a walking, killing STD. And now this one, it's kind of like, dude, what happened to your original ideas?
Because, I mean, I will say that It Follows is better than this, in my opinion. I mean, it is. I don't like this It Follows. I really don't. But at the same time, like, I would rather watch that than this again. I like Andrew Garfield. You know, Topher Grace I like, but
with the thought of him being a schizophrenic killer that doesn't know he's the one killing, and he's just setting up a story to make the disappearances make sense in his town.
And see, when you think about it that way, if I'm the same way, Craig, I honestly really had no desire for a rewatch, but after us just sitting here and spitballing ideas, now I'm kind of like,
I kind of want to go back and see if there's any clues that might point to that. Yeah. Because the guy even said, I think it was the homeless man, he's like, why are you holding dog treats?
Yeah.
Why are there dog treats in your pockets? And he's like, oh, for the ex-girlfriend, hoping she comes back. It never mentioned he had an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not going to go ahead and keep a bunch of freaking dog treats in my pocket. I don't care if you've got 60 dogs and that's the way to your heart or not. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's strange.
I think with that thought process in mind, this film might be a little more enjoyable.
Or even to go back and maybe dig into the special features and see what was said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we get into a favorite scene, though, guys, Craig, we'll start with you. What did you think of the actual ending where he's just, again, standing there staring out into the space?
Yeah, so pretty much he's, he talks to the people and they give him the whole spiel that, this is not like a cult or anything. This is what rich people do. They go down here and live in these encased tombs with 3 women, and they're like, as long as you don't tell anybody, you're good to go, which would never happen. They're going to kill you, which kind of points to him making this all up. And then he's just standing on the porch, and then he goes and he's just looking in the night. It's just, you would think somebody who's been through something so bizarre and, dealt with the person who tried to kill him and the night owl lady, there would be a little more to it, but he's still living in the apartment, but we never saw him get a job. So like it's just make it make sense for something, a part of this movie. So that's, at the end of it, I was just a little like you said, Johnny, I was disappointed because it gives you an ending, but it doesn't really explain anything.
You don't get no payoff.
It explains why the girl's missing, but it doesn't explain anything else in the movie. So yes, there's no payoff. But I'll just go right into favorite scenes. I did enjoy just some of the scenes where he's trying to break down the music and he's writing down all of the codes, and he puts the map out of the cereal box to Silver Lake, and it's the Mario map, and or not Mario, Zelda, I think. But it was just like stuff like that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that stuff. I just wish it tied all together and made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had a favorite scene that I had to pick right offhand, I would say the scene where he is talking to the songwriter and then he kills the piano man or the songwriter. And then, honestly, some of the dialogue that he did share between him and Topher Grace was pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, there's some great scenes, but if I had to name just 2 favorite ones, it would be those. Ed, what about you? Do you have a favorite scene?
I mean, if I have to actually say a favorite scene, I kind of want to go with the music. Him going up to the guy that was composing all the music and stuff like that, supposedly.
Oh, in the bathroom where he was kicking his ass.
Yeah.
Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Whenever he's like just playing, and then all of a sudden just brings out a freaking pistol, it's just like, oh shit. And then he hits several different instruments and an amp, and then he hits a gong and all that, and then he just waylays him with a freaking, I don't know if it was a guitar or a bass. I wasn't really truly focused on that, but yeah, no, that would be the one scene I kind of really liked.
Yeah, Johnny, the bathroom scene when he's beating up the musician and he's like, "Why did you write the song? What's the message?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. He just my studio, my record label gives it to me and they tell me to sing it." Like, that's what some musicians do.
Yeah.
I'm not a musician. I've never been in that business, but you can kind of see from how people talk and who's written and directed songs where they probably are just given songs and they're like, it's going to fit your style. You're going to sing it. It's going to be a hit.
Oh, yeah.
And so it kind of makes sense too, because some songs aren't that catchy, but they're played on the radio continuously and they're almost force fed to you to be good songs.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's also interesting. Ed, we're going to start with you. Star rating for Under the Silver Lake.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with a 5. I don't really have any desire to pick this up again. I hate to do that to Andrew Garfield and Topher Grace. There was a couple things I did like about the movie, but not much in my mind to really save it and make it good. But yeah.
I'm going to give this movie a 6. And it's solely based on
first
time watch, it dragging. And honestly, I just don't know. And, if it wasn't for this conversation, I don't know if I would have the desire to rewatch it again. And yeah, things have been so crazy lately. I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it again anytime soon. But you know what? It will. I mean, it's part of the A24 catalog. I will give it that. But yeah, sometimes, like I said, I'm a huge A24 fan, but sometimes they have some misses. Even though the storyboard is there, and they're my dogs, they're my boys, but sometimes they they have some misses. They have more hits than misses, but sometimes it's, they still have misses. So I'm going to give this one a 6 just because. And then again, the ending was just a letdown. There was no big payoff. There was no A24 ending. So
if he would have just shot himself after she was like already into him,
even that would have been something. Or if he just looked down at something and it had like a map of who's next. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 6. Again, a 6 is not bad. We'll use Zachary's phrase, 6 is fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Craig, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 6 as well. The movie itself was slow at times, but it kept you wanting to watch it. So it wasn't completely terrible. It did have enough to keep you like second guessing stuff. I just think it had too much of it, and it didn't really follow any of the plots. With that being said, after us talking about it and the possibility of him just being insane and making up the story on why these people are disappearing and all of that, this movie could go up. It could go down with that in mind. So there are some good scenes. The score is good. I think it just deserves a second watch for me personally. So I'm just going to give it a 6.
Yeah. Let us know your star rating out there. You guys can Facebook us at facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is one word / the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Hit us up on the Twitter, #UnderTheSilverLake. The Twitter is at Cine-Men405, or you can email us, which is the easiest way to get a hold of us. Email us at cinemen921@gmail.com. That's cinemen921@gmail.com. So yeah, let us know your star rating and we'll read it aloud Monday on the episode, guys. But we don't have that many coming up left. But Monday, August 22nd, we're talking about Men, the new horror movie from A24 that recently just came out on Blu-ray. It is from the same writers and directors of Ex Machina, so we'll check it out. We'll get to talk about our top 5 favorite male A24 characters. We talked about females a few weeks ago, but since we're talking about men, let's talk about our top 5 men characters from A24. So another bonus episode in the books. Guys, you have anything else you want to talk about before we head on to Men on Monday?
Nah, man. I mean, honestly, have your own opinion about a film and go from there. But yeah, this is Ed saying I'll see you on the silver screen.
Yeah, guys, don't forget checking us out this Monday, August 22nd, as we review Men right here Monday. Craig, you have anything else you would add?
I just want to say, it's watching these movies, A24, if you guys out there are following along and listening and watching the movies with us, you got to go in with an open mind. Ed gave it a 5. We both gave it a 6. The movie could be a huge miss, or we could just be missing something. So I think with A24, you just got to kind of be open that they're not going to follow the same blueprint as everything else.
Yeah.
So just be open to that and enjoy it the first time you watch it. If it's bad, it's bad, and you don't like it, cool. If not, hey, more power to you.
And then, guys, I'm going to go ahead and announce it now, but Monday, September the 5th, we're starting spooky season off with the Black Phone. That's going to be the episode that the movie that we review Monday, August the 5th. You guys can watch it now on Peacock, starring Ethan Hawke, but that's what we're talking about Monday, September the 5th, Black Phone. Should be a fun conversation. It's gotten a lot of praise over the last few months, so it should be pretty fun to sit and dig into. So unless you guys have anything else, this is Juan, and I'll say we'll see you Monday when we talk about Men right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
Later.